Hello, this is the guns of Guns and Stuff. This is the guns of Guns and Stuff. Today I'll be shooting the FN, well, it shoots FN ammunition. It's the Keltec. Let me do that again. I'm at a private range today, and I'll be shooting the Keltec PR57, 4-inch barrel. I'll be chronographing that to see how it measures up. It's the shortest barrel of any production 5.7 right now. There's some word out of SHOT Show that this gun doesn't have a magazine, and that way you get around the California limitation. There's a magazine in the grip, so you're not getting out of anything. Sorry. This gun has no manual safety, so to kind of make up for that, it has a pretty long single action trigger. Show you that again. See how long that is? So that gives you a measure of safety. See if I can show you the reset this time. See that? Now watch the reset. All the way out. And then the long trigger pull, but it's the same every time. Very smooth. Now I mentioned the magazine and the grip. You use a clip to load the thing. And there's the clip. There's really, and it's got a little piece here, it's a follower. You don't need it. Loading this is pretty straightforward. You just kind of spin them in and push them down. Ten rounds. There are two little ridges there. See them? Right there and right there. Show you. Then you just put them in like that. See that top ridge is high, is above the slide, and it just stays put. Now, this is kind of odd to me because this is kind of awkward. The clip is actually, if I didn't know any better, I'd say it's designed for a left-handed shooter because the easy way to load it, put the gun in your left hand, and as I said, you don't need the follower, do you? You just push it in, it's easy. Or, you can just load them in by hand from the top, it's not that hard. If you lose this, you're not up a creek, so that's good. Now, we're going to do some chronographing, but before we get to that, when I first got this pistol, took it to the range with a friend of mine, and within the first box, just 50 rounds, we had 2 failures to feed. So that was, I thought to myself, oh boy, here we go. It's not a shooting session, it's a jam session. But, so I put the gun away, got it home, cleaned it again, and I got 300 rounds and shot them through. And it did fine until the very last clip, and this happened.
All right, watch out.
Failure speed. So, would I carry this? No, I wouldn't carry this. It's not reliable enough. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to shoot 200 rounds at a time before I clean it, and then I'll clean it. It might be the gun's a little finicky. I did shoot those 300 rounds without cleaning it. Maybe it's a little finicky, I don't know. But I will tell you this, after the 300 rounds, my hand wasn't tired. My hands weren't tired at all. I felt like I'd been driving a long time. You know, like when you drive all day and you're kind of get that fatigued feeling. That's how I felt. But the gun's pretty light shooting. 300 rounds, that's a lot. I'm 68. So, just for the fun of it, I think I'll try shooting 300 rounds through my Smith and Wesson Bodyguard and see how I feel after that one. All right, let's get to shooting. What do you say? Got my chronograph set up. And we'll see what kind of numbers I can get. I'm shooting 5.7 by 28. This is personal defense ammunition by FN, and it's a 30 grain. We'll see what kind of numbers I can get. That number's in meters per second. Meters per second. Now I'll be shooting the 380. This is Critical Defense by Hornady, a 90 grain bullet. All right, this is a bullet energy calculator furnished by LarryWillis.com. He deals in reloading. So if you're interested, check it out. The top line is a 30 grain FN hollow point, and I've converted the meters per second over to feet per second, and the energy is 233.14. The second line is the 90 grain. That's Hornady Critical Defense, and the velocity on it was 848, and that gives a 143.67. And that's going to explain the difference there. That's going to explain our next segment. So let's head back to the range. And by the way, I like this site because you can compare different bullets, different velocities, different weights, side by side. This ought to be interesting. I'm going to call this the Water Pyramid. I want to capture the bullet, and then we'll see what we can see from there. And once again, this is a 5.7 by 28. Personal defense ammunition made by FN. This is a jacketed hollow point, 30 grain. Looks like the jacketed hollow point, the jacket came off, and there's what's left of it. And notice, though, this is the last bottle, and look at how it's ripped. And there's five total bottles that were hurt by the FN. I don't really, I'm mystified about how that happened. Must have been caught by a piece of the jacket. I don't know. So we're going to set this up again just by means of comparison. Shoot it with the 380 90 grain hollow point by Critical Defense. And what I'm going to do later on when I get a minute, I'm going to measure. I'm going to call it the ripage. It's a way of measuring the hydrostatic shock of the bullet, and I'll be able to compare one bullet to the next, whether it's 5.7, 9mm, 380. It won't make any difference because the target doesn't change. Now I've got a Freshwater Pyramid set up, and I'm going to shoot it this time with my 380. This is a Smith and Wesson Bodyguard 2.0 with the Hornady Critical Defense 90 grain. Let me show you a close-up of the bullet. That's what it looks like. It's a hollow point with a little plastic. Oh, I hate to give you a technical term, but it's a thingamabob. Well, I'm looking for the bullet. Don't see it yet. I did find the spent bullet, and there it is. Very impressive expansion. However, I've got only 3 bottles with rips in them, whereas the FN ammunition gave me 5 ripped bottles. So as far as that goes, it's not close. I measured the rippage on the bottles that I shot with both the Smith and Wesson Bodyguard and the Keltec PR57. The Keltec got 59 inches total on 5 bottles. The Smith and Wesson Bodyguard 2.0 with a 380 ACP, and by the way, that's a 2.7 inch barrel, 36 inches. So I must admit I was a bit skeptical about that 4-inch barrel on the Keltec, because the 5.7 in general depends on high velocity for the results that it gets. So apparently the Keltec engineers knew what they were doing with the 4-inch barrel. But I'm not done with that Keltec. I'm going to continue shooting it. I'm still concerned about the reliability. So we'll see how that goes. That's a long-term project. I'll let you know. I'm going to video every shot I take. I'm not going to make you sit through all that, but if there's a malfunction, I'll bring it to you. This is from 7 yards. There's my Smith and Wesson Bodyguard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As you can see, I'm wandering off to the left and a little bit low. 7 yards. And there is 2 shots. Pretty good. And then these last 3, well, I don't know what it's doing. But this pistol's hard for me to shoot really well.
Alright, so hit one of them and this.
Because of that, I think it's because of that long trigger pull. But adequate for self-defense. There's my hand. That's adequate for self-defense, and that's what the pistols are for. The Smith and Wesson Bodyguard 2.0, they're not target pistols. They're for self-defense, 7 yards and closer. And these, as I said, this is 7 yards, so it's acceptable. I was picking up my brass, or what I could find of it, and you'll never guess what I found. Here you go. That's what I found. You are going to lose these. But, as I said before, boop, it's not the end of the world if you do. Thanks for watching. Let me show you that. I'll show you.